Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? It's Saturday, July 9th, 2016. This is my second vlog video for my channel. Excuse my dirtiness. My appearance isn't very clean today because I've been spending the past hour or so working on my daily driver truck Suburban that developed a fuel leak, and the fuel line is so bad that basically what I did was I just cut the section out that was leaking. It's a metal line. Here in southern PA we get snow and they salt the roads, so that just wreaks havoc on our vehicles, especially underneath all the brake lines and fuel lines and everything. So anyway, I cut the section out that was leaking, and of course in order to get to it, to cut it, I had to maneuver the line a little bit, kind of bend I tried to bend the bad section where it was leaking anyway, so it didn't matter if I, broke it or whatever even more, because it was getting cut out anyway. So I tried to bend it out, and in doing that, I jostled the rest of the line somewhat, and the line was so bad that it just started leaking further down. Well, of course, I didn't notice this until after I went through the trouble of splicing in a new hose clamps and everything else. Kind of rednecking it up. I mean, there's just no reason to replace it with another steel line. It just would be more work than what it's worth. While I was down there, I noticed that my frame is starting to get a little rust hole in it. So that kind of sucks, but that kind of shows me that the vehicle is getting up there in mileage, and I plan on keeping it until it's just not repairable anymore, until the frame rots through. But anyway, so I spliced in the new line and tightened all the hose clamps, got everything done, started up. It's leaking further down the line. So I start to cut that section out, and as I'm bending the line, a leak further down develops. So now I'm short about a 4-foot section of fuel line, because it just keeps leaking and leaking. I think it seems like the closer it gets to the front, the less rusty it is. So the integrity of the front of the line should be okay. But yeah, it just kind of sucks. Just wasted probably an hour getting everything buttoned up and everything, just to find out that just in moving it around, it caused it to leak even more. So yeah, it happens. It happens. I mean, I've been down this road before with this truck. I've repaired another part of the fuel line. I guess this is the fuel return line, because I don't recall seeing the fuel filter on it. It is the bigger line, which you would think that the bigger line is the fuel feed line to the engine, but I don't recall seeing a filter there. So it must be the return line, but either way. So I got a long section of hose. I'm basically gonna splice the hose in, redneck it up. I mean, my hose repairs from many years ago that I've done are still holding up to this day. As long as you use fuel hose, rated for fuel pressure. I mean, it's only 50 to 55 psi of fuel pressure. It's not crazy amounts, but you don't want a hose, the fuel is actually going to eat the hose away or some crazy shit like that. But yeah, so that's what I'm going back to do, almost home now. It's of course the freaking hottest day, I think, of all summer so far. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 90 degrees out right now. And with the humidity, which is even worse, it's probably about like 100. It feels like 100. So I'm just dying. Driving the wife's Volvo. Got the air going, so it's nice and cool in here. I did pick up, we just got this car actually. We paid $200 for it. She got it from somebody from her work. It sat for a year. The mass airflow sensor was bad, and it just wouldn't run right with it bad. So they just let it sit, and they didn't know what was wrong with it. So I went and looked at it. They didn't want, but they got it for free, so they were willing to let it go for cheap. So $200 for, it's a 96. It's got 203,000 miles on it, but it's in pretty good shape. I mean, the interior, Leather seats are good. It's got sunroof. You know, typical Volvo instrumentation. It's pretty luxurious. Very quiet. Drives nice. So basically, $100 mass airflow sensor. Swap that in, and she fired up and ran. Other than that, I just had to charge the battery, which was dead, but it is holding a charge now, so that's good. It has the coil on plug type setup, and a couple days ago she was coming home from work and started misfiring. So she pulled into the gas station. She was afraid to drive it, so I met her there and I drove it home. I mean, it ran, it was just misfiring. The check engine light was on, misfire cylinder number 5. So I pulled the coil on plug off, swapped it with cylinder 1, cleared the code, started it up, let it run until the check engine light came back on, and the code moved to cylinder 1. So I knew that it was the coil that was bad. And on top of that, I also, when you unplug it, when it was running, it wouldn't spark. So the good one that I swapped it with, when I unplugged it, it was arcing against the cylinder head. So I knew instantly that was bad. So that was $40. Put another one of them in, and it's running good. It just has a small coolant leak at the reservoir now. We need a new overflow reservoir tank. I went to the junkyard yesterday to look for one, but fortunately all the Volvos they have there are the newer ones, and they don't have the same engine, and their coolant expansion tanks are different, so they won't work. So I'm probably going to end up having to order one. They're like $20 or $30 on eBay. Free shipping, so I'll have that ordered. But yeah, this is what I'm working with. Freaking hot as hell. Not looking forward to getting out of this AC, that's for sure. But yeah, so that's my day, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and please rate and subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.